In the previous episode, we took you along as we traveled from rural Bad Plaza to suburban Nelspruit, Mpumalanga, South Africa, where we stayed a few nights in a beautiful guest home of a family friend. We took you on the ride from Bad Plaza to Nelspruit. We also showed you a few area spots in suburban Nelspruit, and we gave you a tour of the home where we stayed. But we also headed off to some of the area sites and attractions. The first being the beautiful God's Window. In this episode, come along as we give you a detailed and historical tour of God's Window, and then see where we go from there. Please, if you have not watched a previous episode, please pause this video and watch that first before proceeding with this video. It will put everything in this video in context. Enjoy the tour of God's Window. We're here in South Africa at God's Window. And what's the name of the town? I'm here with Valerie.
This town is called Graskop. It's actually an Afrikaans name. The meaning, direct translation is grass or grass head. But this is a national heritage site for South Africa. Well, we're at God's Window. And the reason it's called God's Window, if you look down, there's a very deep gorge, and ahead of that is a valley. Ahead of that is a valley. If you can see the dirt roads in the distance, that's dirt roads leading to different housing for the forestry workers, and also there are some farms as well in the area. So the valley you can see right now because of the weather, but it's perfect weather because any time from now a mist can come. There it comes. A mist can come right over the rocks on the left and close up the view, and you see nothing. And then it opens up again after a few minutes, and you see everything. They call it God's Window, opening and closing. Stunning view, isn't it?
Do you mind being on camera?
Oh, yeah. No. I don't mind.
From the Netherlands.
Hello.
Hi. At God's Window.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Is it
you.
your first time here?
First time here, yeah.
Awesome, welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you
so
very
I'm
much.
born
nice.
and bred here, and I love it.
Yeah.
There's an eagle.
Yeah.
Already?
There, to the left of the dirt road,
Yeah.
right there in the corner against the forestry, you'll see housing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when it's clustered like that, it's normally the farm workers.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, locals. And the land, the forestry is owned by a company. There's 2 or 3 different forestry companies.
Mhm.
This one is called SAPI, which means South African Pulp and Paper Industry.
Ah.
They
They
Is
have
that
a lot,
why?
have a
Because
lot,
they're all, yeah.
like everywhere.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Ah.
And the most products they make out of the forestry, the pine, needle pines,
Yeah.
Okay.
are paper,
Yeah.
newspaper, and photocopy.
Yeah.
paper. Yeah.
Okay.
And they provide that, the surplus or a percentage,
Mhm.
to the local schools,
Okay.
Ah,
That's a good
wow.
so that they have paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go out
But-
to the schools and they explain what it's all about, how
Yeah.
it starts and how the end product.
I think
yeah.
they
Awesome.
export it all
They
over the
do,
world.
they do export
Because
a lot.
if you have so much like forests everywhere,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see it everywhere. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
So if you
wow.
see SAPI,
Yeah.
shortened
Oh,
for
yeah.
that,
Then
it's this
we
is
will
where-
know, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And I
It is a nature reserve. There we go. 1,700 meters above sea level.
Oh, okay.
Another view, beautiful view. God's window. Beautiful. So Valerie, we're walking up a path here, still at God's window, very beautiful attraction here in South Africa. And we're having a conversation with Valerie, and she said something I've never heard before. She talked about before apartheid, and I said, when was before apartheid? So tell us, Valerie, when was before apartheid, and what was life like for all races before apartheid?
In 1912, I had an ancestor who lived then in the years of non-apartheid, and he passed down the stories of what he and the rest of them used to do during those years where there was no apartheid. And then Paul Kruger, the first South African president, an Afrikaner, they appointed or elected him as the president, the first president of South Africa. And while he was president until 1930, there was no apartheid. When my mother was born in 1930, the apartheid had just begun, and when she was 2, 3, 4, and 5 years old, that's when the restrictions started, the apartheid, the segregation, etc. But even before that, in 1912, that's why my mom's father was British or Scottish, came to South Africa on the ships and settled here. My father's father was German. He came from Germany after the World War, whatever, and he settled in South Africa. And both those men married black South Africans, Zulu to be particularly Zulu. My great-grandmother Zulu, actually my grandmother, and they were allowed to get married because there was no apartheid restrictions where black and white couldn't get married. That came after 1930.
And Kruger is the name that they've named the Kruger National Park, which is a well-known game park, right, in South Africa?
Yes.
That was named after the first president.
President Paul Kruger, yes.
Okay.
And during the gold rush, around that, between 1912 and 1930, I'm just giving that time frame because I know what my parents told me. Whenever the gold rush was, Paul Kruger was the president of South Africa, and he was the first to gain the most gold as the president, and he had gold for the state, the country. That's when the first what's that thing where you store the money?
The vaults.
Okay. Anyway, he was the one that stored the first gold.
The reserve.
Reserve.
All right.
But there's that other thing where they bargain for prices and what's it called? You have it. It's all over the world. Stock exchange.
No.
Anyway,
Okay.
so he also had personal gold that he minted into coins, and those were the famous Kruger coins. They were and still are extremely valuable. So it is said that Paul Kruger took his personal gold coins. The gold coins are solid gold with his image on, South Africa on, and the date. And he had millions of those. When the British came and they were trying to infiltrate the gold rush, and they were also trying to take land in South Africa and overthrow the Afrikaners. Paul Kruger took his Kruger coins and hid them in potholes in a river. It's called the Blyde River, where there are canyons as well, Blyde River canyons. So he hid them in all different, a whole lot of area, the whole area in different spots, like in the canyon, in the potholes in the river, etc. And since then, 1930, people have been trying to find his gold coins. There were discoveries. Even Americans came and had a crew, and they found Kruger coins. The most coins that were found in different areas around where we are now are the South African Afrikaners, because they had knowledge of where the voortrekkers made their camps, etc. And where they knew the history of Paul Kruger, where he made camp at that time when there was trouble in the camp. So they managed to find a whole lot and return it to the state.
Yet another view of God's window.
I've heard, I'm not sure, I have to verify this, but South Africa has the largest,
Do it again?
the second
Wave
largest
again, sir?
forestry,
Okay.
No, wouldn't surprise me. There's a lot of it.
especially pine.
I'm not a movie star.
That's okay, thank you. Wow, this is beautiful. Another view here at God's window. Follow the yellow brick road. It's not yellow, but it's
Isn't it reddish?
stone.
Stone here. Stones and slash stones and a bit of cement added. These are rocks, flat rocks. These are cemented, and then you get slash stone like this one. Mostly the shape like this. Different shapes put together. The in Swaziland where we lived, I had slash stone my entire passage and the kitchen and the lounge area. If you polish this, it's so gorgeous.
Wow. You call it slash stone?
Slash stone. Slashes. Like slices. Graphic precipitation.
You want to explain this?
Gosh. Okay, yes, I can do that.
One more back. You can stay there, however you want to be.
As long as you get that picture there, I suppose.
Okay, where are we now? How far have we gone at God's window, Valerie?
I didn't count the kilometers or the miles, but it was a long walk up. And we've reached the end of the rainforest, and the rockery you see here, all natural. Top of the mountain, we're 1,000, now we're 1,700 meters above sea level. There's an overhanging rock down there. You can't really see the end of it because it's of the growth. But in the past, if they cut that, you could hang over and look down into the gorge. But if you stand here and you have strong binoculars, and you look across in the direction of my hand, you can see a very large township. It stretches for kilometers and kilometers to the north. And just beyond that is Kruger National Park. And beyond Kruger National Park, in the same direction, if you have the strong binoculars and the weather's perfect, you can actually see the ocean, which the capital city, Maputo,
What
is.
ocean? Indian?
The Indian Ocean, yeah.
Wow.
North of Durban, north of KwaZulu-Natal.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're pretty high, eh?
Very high. It's not too high when you consider. I think